Bridgin the Gap podcast, episode 18. Right, I'm here. I'm Ryan Yates, your young OG, not self-proclaimed young OG. I'm here with my co-host, mentor, my OG, Julian King. And if you've been tuned in with us, you know he has a few different nicknames. If you know him from the Atlanta days, the run and shoot days, the Philly days, Temple days, Coppin days, you might call him Jupac, JK. I call him Oscar the Grouch sometimes. OG Juan, whatever you want to say it. But we're here with our podcast, live from Dubai, as we say, live and direct.
Live and direct, baby.
From the UAE. This is the tale of two generations. This is my high school coach, my mentor, and now we're business partners in this world, all the way from the U.S. on the other side, the Eastern Hemisphere. And this is our audio journal, so to speak. What's up, OG?
What's up, man? I know we always get into this, but we have to do a better job with my introduction. It's a little drawn out.
All right, let's start it over.
I'm serious. It's a little drawn out, and it's like you're giving me a compliment on one hand, and on the other hand, like you dissing me in my face. So I don't know how to feel about that.
Okay.
You say I'm old and grumpy. Yes, as you get older, you have less patience.
I guess.
You know what I'm saying, but give me a little more respect.
Okay.
A little more justice.
Let's do that. Let's rewind. And you do the introduction. You do the introduction. How you want to be introduced. You let me know.
No. You introduced me as Julian King, and people know him around in the UAE as Coach King. That's it. We don't have to go into all the other stuff because that's stuff that this is a different story.
I can't time. See, this is the thing, right? You my OG. I'm cut from your cloth, man. You and my uncle. You gave me a lot of the foundation. So as you would say, I only know how to keep it one way. So I can only keep it real.
Now you want to listen.
So I'm saying, I'll pass you the rock. How you want to be introduced? I'll make it, Eddie Kane.
I'm just saying, you can just say a couple of my old nicknames. My old heads out here will know what you're talking about.
Do you prefer one?
My peers will know what you're talking about, but let's just make it a little quicker. That's all. It's drawn out.
I want to give you your flowers, though. You know what I'm saying? That's cool. I try to speed it up next time.
That's all I'm asking.
You got some nicknames you prefer? Like you got A, B, and C, and then you want to leave it there?
No, I'm 47 years old, man. I'm approaching 50. My name is Coach King.
Coach King. Coach King for the kids that are playing under him and under his tutelage and under his leadership. But you guys know who I'm talking to. That's Jupac. That's Jupac. Well, it was an interesting week. Workload was a little bit different. Still always successful. Each week is a blessing to keep moving forward. We're growing. Thank you to the parents in the midst of all of this chaos that are continuously coming to us. I haven't mentioned it yet, but we're business partners and we're building a basketball brand, basketball academy, basketball community called Hoopmountain.ae. You can find us on Instagram at Hoopmountain.DXB. You can find us online at Hoopmountain.ae. Our WhatsApp numbers are available, emails, everything, and we love to talk to parents. But shout out to all of our parents who are around supporting us. You guys know that it's our livelihood, and we also enjoy it. So thank you for that. But How was the week for you, big dog?
How was my week? That's interesting because, as you say, it was a great week and everything. Yes, it was. You said the workload was a little different. Well, let me explain to everybody back home and the UAE why the workload was a little different. Somebody had a birthday recently and went on basically a 4 or 5 day birthday extravaganza. You would think that he was some type of royalty, prince, king, or something like that, some type of sultan or something like that. And this gentleman, I won't say any names, just disappeared. And so myself, Coach Ethan had to pick up the slack for Coach Ryan. Oh, did I say his name? I'm sorry. My bad. But we understand it's it's a one time a year type situation. But to say that the workload was different is being a little modest.
All right. Let's be clear, because that's one of your favorite sayings. Don't assassinate my character. Now, I didn't go AWOL, right? I didn't just randomly say no. We agreed to it, and you know how it is when you got an OG, like to bust your chops. That's one of those old sayings to where they gonna talk trash. They're gonna hit you. Hey, you just gotta take it, right? So we agree. He talked to me at his core. At his core, the OG has a great heart. He's a loving guy at his core. You just got to get there. That's like getting through a brick wall and then one of them old castle walls with some Great Dane standing there. But we agreed. He said, look, it's your birthday. We deserve it. Take today off, because my birthday fell on the weekend. He's like, take these couple of days off. We already had 2 days off anyway, but he said, take this other one off. I'll make Ethan pick up the slack. I was like, you sure? Because you know how Ethan is? He's like, nah, we got it. So, me and my lovely girlfriend, she gave me some surprises. All I wanted to do was sleep. But, she had some surprises. And
some great surprises.
You can say I took full advantage. I did it the way you would do it.
Yeah, you're supposed to. If someone's gonna do it big, you're supposed to make sure.
Shout out to 04. Look, I'm a big Kobe fan. This was one of my presents. Man, listen, you guys know me, the Grinches. What? I missed out on these in high school and college. Got them now.
We were just talking about this like a month ago.
Yeah, we were.
That's crazy.
No, but you're right for sure. But it was a great week though for that.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm glad you had a good birthday and everything. And me and Ethan. Shout out to Ethan. Thank you for coming through in the clutch. Without you, this wouldn't be possible. And we need to give you your flowers, because man, you like what you've done for us.
All right,
we can never repay.
You gonna tell the truth now? Because I remember vividly. So on Sunday I did pop in because we had a big crowd. So I did come in and do some work. And on Sunday, before Ethan got there, I swear I hadn't seen Coach maybe a day or so. And Coach gave me for like 20 minutes. He was like, yo, Ethan getting on my nerves. Ethan is just Ethan. I was like, man, it's the young guy's thing. He is a soldier.
Ethan,
he's learning as he goes.
Just so you know, I say that about a lot of people. My mom, my stepfather. Listen, that's just me.
Oscar the Grouch.
But I got love for you. You know that.
For sure. That's our guy, for sure. That's good though. And speaking of, now tell the people the truth. We never leave the OG out. As my girl would say, hey, Coach King's my uncle now too. But I had some great food. Coach and I, we're on the eastern part of the world by ourselves. So Coach always looks out for me. So I make sure I look out for him. So you tell the truth. You had some nice dinners, some nice desserts, some nice little things come your way.
I did. But it was a situation where, it wasn't let me get ahead of everything and let me offer this to Coach. It was kind of almost like guilt.
No, I left the food on the counter.
And if it weren't for a certain special person, if they weren't kind of nudging the situation, I probably wouldn't have seen anything.
No, that's a lie. That is a lie, man. That's crazy.
Okay.
But you got it though.
It's okay. But it's okay. I'm used to working hard and being in the background. When you guys won a lot of championships in high school. When you guys were in front of the cameras and everything, what did I always do? I always went to the back.
That's because you had that brown blazer on.
Because I said it's about the players.
Anyway, he cool.
Actually, the blazer was blue with the school emblem on it. It was blue.
That was, man, listen, I need to sit down with some of your friends when you're not around. So that way like Chaz, you know what I'm saying, Dermy, I need to sit with them when you're not around. I think that's what we're going to do.
Shout out to Chaz.
I'm going to do that in the summertime.
I'm Wisconsin right now. Shout out to Dermia. He's at West Springfield. He's a boys basketball coach. He always cheats. But he's my man, though. He's my man.
No, I got something. I'm gonna table that. write this down, Ethan. In the summertime, when we leave for the States, I'm going to do a little interview segment with Coach's friends without him there. And we're going to put that out like a little summer exclusive so they can tell the truth about the OG. Because, he tried to bully me sometimes. So we see how this goes.
First of all, that's not in my nature.
Exactly.
Anybody who knows me knows that's not in my nature. Well, I'm an easygoing guy.
I'm going to teach you a word that you ain't really know. Cap. That's cap. That's cap. That's that new slang for that's BS. Fugazi.
Like I know what that means, but
that's cap.
Like I'm offended that you coming at me like that.
That's
but
cap.
That's okay.
But no,
assassination.
Yeah, I hear you. But you do look like you're still. It's getting hotter out here. You look like you're still getting your workout in.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying. We got so much work to do. In between any downtime we have, we hustle to the gym.
Yeah, and the basketball as a business is something that people don't really understand the complexities. You talk about entrepreneurship on its own right is difficult, right? But when you're doing more of a service and a service to families, kids in particular, that battle is just completely different. As you always say, it takes a different type of person to put that together. But, it's all for good cause. And it's starting to get a little hot here as we still see snow and things back home. It's almost beach time, baby.
Yeah, it's getting warm here for sure.
Yeah, that's real.
For sure.
That's real. But, that's good. We had good weeks. Let's get into some of them hoops action.
Okay.
Hoops action. I'm a big LaMelo Ball guy. I have been. It's on record. It's on wax.
You predicted it.
It's on wax.
Yeah, I'll give
my
you that.
guys before talked about it. He's been nothing short since he's gotten into the starting lineup. I believe he's been averaging 20 points, over 6 assists and over 6 rebounds. He leads all rookies in points, assists, and rebounds. Ain't no turning back. As my boys, as a couple of my guys back home would say, the greatest thing MJ ever did in his career as a GM and an owner was draft LaMelo Ball. Right? And, man, this most recent game that we are, as you guys know, we filmed this on different days. The last game that they played was against the Blazers, where they played a scorching Carmelo Anthony, the original Melo. Right. And he put up 29, and then LaMelo himself had 38, 6, and 4 steals.
Right. He went crazy. He rose to the occasion because he knew that that's the old Melo. And, he has a lot of respect for Melo, Carmelo that is, but he still wanted to go out there and show his worth. And as you predicted, you and I actually talked about this beforehand, what type of impact he would have on the league. And you said he'd have an instant impact. I said it'd be maybe mid-season, toward the end of the season, but, you were right. Yeah. He's come in, he's ready to go.
Yeah.
He's by far living up to the expectations.
Absolutely. And one of the things that pushed me to it, to where I was like, it's going to be different, because I think mentally he's at a whole different place than what most rookies would be coming in. Right. And I think Anthony Edwards is too, to an extent, but he just got a bad organization. Like, it's just a tough place to play. Right? But when you talk about Melo is the youngest of 3 brothers, right? Yeah. Lonzo was the OG, the older brother, and they've been in the limelight since Melo was in 9th grade. Melo didn't even finish high school. Right. He went right overseas at like 16.
Right.
And so, we'll talk about that overseas path, but it doesn't matter what age you are. Brandon Jennings did it first. Shout out to him for paving the way. But that's not easy. To do that at 16 and to do those things, like mentally, I'm thinking like being able to play in the league where you're around what you're familiar with, that's going to be cake. And he has a great mentor out of Detroit. I think it's Jermaine Jackson.
Yep.
Yeah.
Long-time NBA journeyman who knows what it takes to get into a certain spot and stick. And that's what he did. And so, he's got somebody giving him the real every day.
Yeah.
And pushing him.
And that's an investment.
Yep.
Right? That's one of those things to where you're like, okay, how do I make sure my clay, my canvas turns out into the beautiful picture that I want? Put the right tools behind it.
Yep.
And so LaMelo got that. And, You know, one of the things out of the Kobe, I rewatched a little clip from Kobe's interview with, the Knuckleheads pod with Darius Miles and Q Rich. And he talked about how, if he got drafted by a different organization, like if he would have stayed with Charlotte, ironically, to where he would have played more instantly than he did when he was in LA, where there were already all-stars. Eddie Jones was there, Nick Van Exel, Shaq. You got to play behind. Right. If he would have went somewhere else and got the ball immediately, he would have more all-time points, more MVPs, more scoring titles, more of those things, but the winning would be sacrificed, right? But when you talk about a kid being able to go into an organization and get the keys to the car early, what that can do for confidence and where their potential can go.
Well, in Melo's situation, he didn't necessarily get the keys right away. He had to come off the bench, and so for him to embrace that role coming off the bench shows his maturity. Mm-hmm. Because being the number 2, number 3 pick, whatever, you want to come in. You think, especially for an organization like the Hornets, you think you're going to come in and start. But they brought him off the bench, and he didn't complain, at least publicly. Yeah. We don't know if he complained or whatever, but he came in and just played his role, and it got to a point where you couldn't keep him on the bench. Yeah. You had to start him at some point. So it shows a lot of maturity, and plus the organization I think they're doing right by him.
For sure. I like him because they did ask him that publicly after the game, and he said, "It's not like I've been in the league 4 years. I've been a couple months. Right. Like, I don't expect any of that. But what I also respect is once you gave him the light, won't nobody else getting it back. Right. That's one of those things to where your moment is right there. What you gonna do with it? Right. But on the flip side, because I think this needs to be talked about too, Lonzo Ball has been having a really, really good season too, developing. Right? Sure. Like, and this one of those sides to where, and you always talk to me about it, Lonzo, since he got in the league, has been very, very solid.
For sure.
Right? Yes. I think sometimes people forget to come into the NBA 19, 20, 21, and you get into the league, it's like walking into that workforce where you're a young buck and everybody been working 20, 30 years or whatever, you just getting here. Like, sometimes people expect everybody to be Bron, and you get into the league with grown men, professionals, with professional routines, they scientific, and you expect
and
people
major responsibilities.
Man, big time. You expect them to explode. And even then, Lonzo was solid defender, solid point guard, could do what he can while he was in the first 2 or 3 years. Now it's starting to click a little bit. He's one of the better three-point shooters. He has the most made threes for New Orleans right now. And I would say, if you look at Lonzo's stat line, you can tell how well New Orleans has played.
Right. Because he's the engine that makes them go. But his previous years in the league, it wasn't that he wasn't playing well. It's just the fact that being a high pick, people expect so much out of you. Mm-hmm. But that's not his personality. His personality is that I'm just going to go in and do what the team needs to get the job done, and I'm going to go home. Mm-hmm. He's not loud and boisterous. His little brother is a little, his brother
star
enjoys the limelight. Yeah. Lonzo is a guy that he's going to go in and play hard and then just go home. But he's played well, and I think the issue is the reason his numbers have jumped a little bit is because there's so many rumors about trade talks, and so he's trying to quiet the rumors. And the number one rumor is that he's not aggressive enough. Yes. And so now he's asserting his aggressiveness, and so people are beginning to see like, whoa, you can do this? Yes. You can do that?
Yes.
So he's in a good space right now, and I think that New Orleans would be dumb to get rid of him because he can do so many things, and he doesn't need plays run for him. He doesn't need the limelight, which would fit good with Zion,
and Brandon Ingram.
But we all know the Pelicans don't have they don't have a great track record for being a good organization.
Yeah, I don't think they hired a good coaching fit for that group of young guys either with Stan Van Gundy. So that made, like I said, as of late though, because Lonzo is a 6'6" guard. He's strong, right? He can get downhill. He can guard as
Anybody.
well.
Yep.
Guard anywhere. And between him and his brothers are both great rebounders at the guard position. All right, so that allows you to start to break quicker. You know what I'm saying? It gives you an added advantage there, and the offensive rebounders as well. So when you have a guy like Lonzo who can get you those numbers, you just got to push it because you're talking about he gives you what you need.
Right.
Now that he knows that you need him to be aggressive. He's more confident now. He knows his niche because that's another thing about playing NBA. Right, NBA is not like college and high school to where if you're just better than everybody, you can just be there.
Right.
You got to find a niche. You got to find your spots that
Right.
you can get to because you doing those things in front of Drew Holiday or whatever guards, they ain't gonna cut it.
Right. And this number one thing, let's shout out to whoever he's working with in terms of his shot. Changing his shot, thank you, Lord, has helped him tremendously.
Yeah.
Now he worked through it last year with the change in form. Now he's getting more confident with him, and it shows in his shooting percentage. So whoever he's working with, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, that's real. That's real. And that's all a part of the process. Last episode we talked about pieces to the puzzle, taking one step at a time to get there. Like it's a man's league. Like
right.
you gotta work your way up into it. So Lonzo, we see you. Of course, little bro is gonna be the star-studded guy, but slouch either. You keep working. You keep working.
Right.
You're in a position where you can win some games.
Right.
And Charlotte is doing pretty well too. But that's good to see. On top of that, well, let's transition a little bit. We talk about Dame Lillard.
Dame Dollar.
Maybe about 5-10 seconds before we press hit live on the video. I saw a quick little post about Dame talking about people don't really know the year he's had. And it's that side of athletes and people who are in the limelight that fans and just everyday people don't think about for selfish reasons because they don't have to. They don't really care. They only want to see what's going on. But Dame talked about how tough these last 18 months were for him. And not even just due to the COVID stuff, but, he found the dead body of his cousin and personal chef. And then an aunt died from cancer. Then another family friend from COVID. And then another cousin was killed in Oakland. And then last Thursday, before the Lakers game, he learned of a shooting death of 2 people in the circle. That's a lot of loss, to have to deal with.
Yeah.
And then you're listening to people like us saying you need to get out of Portland, go get a ring,
Right.
go do certain things. It's all minuscule.
Right. Well, I'm not gonna say it's fans being selfish.
Yeah.
It's the fact that we just don't know.
Yeah.
Because
some people don't care. What did Doughboy say? On the porch at the end of the boyhood. I don't know if they don't know.
Right.
Don't show.
Right.
Or don't care.
But for the most part, anybody who's a true Damian Lillard fan, you would care. But this is a side of him that we can't expect him to express with us because it's personal. So now that we find out these things, now we respect the play that he's been putting forth this year even more. Yeah. Because he's been playing as a true professional. For those who are haters of the Damian Lillard, now you should have a little more respect for him and say, man, you've been able to go through all this stuff and play without skipping a beat. But that's just those are the pros and cons of being a professional athlete and a star at that, and you can take the good with the bad, and Damian Lillard has done a really good job of just like rolling with the punches, and I hope that he and his family continue to persevere through these tough times, and hope he continues to play well.
Yeah, he's a stand-up guy. This would be one of those moments where I would like to see a reverse effect, right, to where the fans and your supporters kind of be a pedestal to help galvanize and help you get that stuff together.
Right.
Man, you give us great moments on the court, and that's not, you don't do that for us,
right?
Right? You do that for you, those people that are in your inner circle. So this is a time where those fans are uplifting.
Let me go a step further too. You give us good times on the mic too,
Facts.
Because there's been some athletes who were superstar athletes. I won't say many names. I don't heard anything, that were terrible on the mic. And Dame, you're respectable, man, for real. Like I'll listen to you. So I got love for you for that, for sure.
And a loyal guy.
For sure.
And we know how loyalty.
A little too loyal, but I'm just saying, give them a deadline. You know what I'm saying?
For sure, like short. Well, we want to just recognize that because in the midst of everything, we don't know if that was a fire alarm or what, but we just keep going.
Ethan.
Yeah, that was you, man. I was about to say you should throw a mic at him. But in the midst of everything, we also just got to remember that, everybody's a person first.
For sure.
Right? So no matter what's going on, we have our days, we have our things. So, sometimes just support from each other will keep us moving. But, Dame, shout out to you, man.
Yep.
We understand, Coach has his days of having to fight through some big battles too, so we all feel you, big dog.
Yeah, dealing with you, there's a battle every week.
Look, man, you're gonna appreciate me one day, man.
No, I appreciate you. I love you like a son. But man, anybody who has children knows that some days they get to kill their children.
Man, crazy. So let's go just some quick topics. We got a couple things we can get on.
Okay.
D Book is still killing it. He was just named West Player of the Week. I'm still going in. By the time this comes out, the All-Star game would have been already played. So I'm just gonna go ahead and say I'm going for D Book for 3-point champion and D Book for the All-Star game MVP. List up all the participants for the slam dunk and the skills challenge stuff.
Did Zion get in the dunk contest?
I don't know. I don't know if
he
he's that
might.
creative. I don't want to see Zion. He ain't that graceful in the air.
He's
strong as an
I
ox,
don't
though.
know.
I keep seeing him bounce off people and stuff.
I don't know.
I'm thinking another like Blake Griffin and him. Then we got Joakim Noah retiring finally. Very respectable career.
Respectively.
Yeah, very respectable career. You held it down for your time there. 59 years ago on March the 2nd, Wilt scored 100 points in Chuck Taylors, white high top Chuck Taylors from 59 years ago.
In Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Look, the myth himself, man, he's a different beast. In them high top Chucks.
Yo, and he had 25 boards that night.
That's crazy. How many of them boards was off his own missed shot though?
I don't know. He took 60 shots.
Jesus.
But remember, he scored
60 to get 100. That's not bad.
But he scored 100 points with no 3-pointers.
Yeah.
That's gangster. I'm sorry.
Did he really score it though?
Come on, Yates.
Where the tape at? The NBA didn't record none of those
Yates,
games?
it was 1959.
Bro, I seen Bob Cousy and them run around in circles dribbling the ball like a million times.
Yeah, in the playoffs. We're talking about in Hershey, Pennsylvania. That's not even a regular NBA spot.
Hershey,
Come on, man. Yeah. Hershey, Pennsylvania, for those of you that don't know, that's the place where you go to the amusement park. That's it.
Hershey's chocolate. It's exactly what y'all think it is. I remember they used to take trips there in middle school. I used to be like, Hershey, man. I don't give a damn about Hershey. I'm good. I stay at the crib. We ain't got none of that.
You were less cultured then.
Yeah. For good reason. Forget that. We got the Rockets announcing that they'll retire Harden's 13 jersey. Showing love to the man himself. The big dog there. I respect it. After Hakeem Olajuwon, he's the greatest Rocket, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, we can.
I guess
think
so.
that way.
I guess so.
I mean, Hakeem the only one that got him 2 rings, so I ain't never putting him over Hakeem.
I guess so. I mean, I put him in there. Definitely, he's one of the top 2 or 3 Rockets of all time for sure. But it's just
who else would be in that conversation?
Man, I mean, what about my man?
Katino Mobley.
Stop.
No, shout out to Cat.
Shout out to Cat. That's my guy. You know what I'm saying?
He can go.
But I'm just thinking more along the lines of like
I'm putting him over Clyde.
Ooh.
Put him over Clyde.
I just have an infinity for those guys that played along Akeem. We talking about Sam Cassell.
Was it Ellie? Was Ellie there?
Smith. Mario Elliott was there. I mean, just like Mario Elliott was there. Like, it's just James Harden, yes.
I'm talking about individual play.
Individual play, yeah, he's definitely top 3 for sure. It's just, man, it's just that I'm just so disappointed in like some of the results in terms of James Harden's playoff runs. That's all I'm saying.
You know what I also noticed? Because I know part of the reason why you're even more disappointed is because that year he's with CP3. Because CP3 is your guy.
Yeah, CP3 is my
guy. See, that was the moment. That was the time for CP3 to get to where he wanted the promised land.
Yeah, get to the finals.
And Harden was supposed to be the one for that, but you saw kind of like Harden ain't really ready to take those sacrifices like that. Right. So that still stick with you a little bit on it.
Yeah, I mean it does. Because Harden has the ability to get it done. But you can have the talent to do it, but you got to have the mentality to want to do it. And to see him somewhat quit on his teammates in certain situations, that bothers me, man. It just does. And like I said, I love Harden's game. I love Harden's game since he was at Arizona State.
Right.
Because I was like, yo, he's got an old man's game, but he's a young boy. And he's going to play in the league 30, not 30 years, but he's going to play in the league a long time and get buckets.
Yeah, because he's fat and getting it done right now.
He's chubby. Yeah, he's working, getting back in shape. So I'm hoping that, even though it's not with Houston, but with the Nets now, that Harden knows that, like, yo, my time is running out.
Yeah,
I got a couple more years in me. I got to make this count.
Yeah, that's where. Well, respect to the Rockets for showing that love.
Oh, for sure.
Another little quick hitter. Kyrie Irving warns Europe and America that the time is coming to reconcile. All right, we ain't gonna talk about it. So let's go. Let's go. Don't leave the set, man. All right. Shout out to Kyrie though. Kyrie has to have a point in what he's talking about is that eventually all that wrongdoing that everybody's been persecuting people and everything else, you're gonna have to reconcile and deal with those things.
Yes,
so
we know that.
That is a point.
We know that.
Ricky Rubio was candid about his time in Minnesota right now. How there's no accountability. There's a bunch of bad habits being built. And on top of that, it looks like everybody's okay with that. Nobody wants to win. Nobody wants to change the habits. Nobody's actually trying. This is Rubio after this is his second stint with them. So he left and went to some other organizations to where, one being the last one in Phoenix when they had that great run in the bubble to where he got to be with Monty.
Right.
See some different things.
Rubio is a smart player. We've never had an issue with Rubio's IQ. We only had an issue with Rubio at the beginning, his defense.
Yes.
His defense.
Real European.
But he's European. We give you a break for that. But he's stepped up the game on that. He's changed. He's evolved. But we all know Minnesota, let's be real. I would take a job with Minnesota because I need a job as a head coach. But Minnesota as an organization sucks. We know that from top to bottom. You know what I'm saying? You guys don't do a good job of developing your talent. You don't do a good job of managing what you do have currently and holding people accountable. That's just, everybody knows that. This is not anything that is hidden or behind the scenes. Everybody knows that.
Word.
You go to Minnesota to basically, you play well, you try to get to a better destination. You play bad, it's time to retire.
Word.
We know that. So it's okay. Rubio, we feel you.
Rubio trying to get a win, though. That's what it is.
I know.
He got that taste of that playoff bump and how that, because that competitive juice. When you feeling it, he's like, man, y'all ain't even going to try. I'm old.
Yeah, you just got to play through your contract and get out and play. Go somewhere else for a lesser amount and then do your thing. That's what
I hope they get that together, though, because in the midst of that one shining light is, because, D'Lo's been hurt. D'Angelo Russell's been hurt. Right. And Carl Anthony Towns, like, basketball is not even words. He just had to deal with so much. Personally and everything. Sure. I think he just got back late. So everything else did. But that one shining light, that one shining moment. Shout out, it's March Madness time. So, that song is about to pop up. That in March Madness by Future.
Right.
But, we talk about Anthony Edwards. Just that young talent, man. He's just shining brighter than what that space is. But, hey, it's a blessing to be in the league, and sometimes you just gotta go through those stones in the beginning to get what you want.
I mean, everybody that's in the league is a blessing, of course, like you said, Coach. But what are you in the league for? You're in the league to get riches and take care of your family, of course. But ultimately, you want to win. Mm-hmm. Because winning makes everything worthwhile.
For sure.
And so if you're not winning, there's time to find somewhere that does want to win. So that's where Minnesota is right now. Mm-hmm. And for those of you that don't know, especially in UAE, Minnesota's cold.
It's
freezing.
Man.
Great people, but it's freezing cold there. Shout out to Prince.
Man, I think I had a layover flight there one time, and I was like, yo, this is not it. Don't ever have this happen again. Yeah, and then we were just in the airport. We didn't even leave the airport. I was like, oh, this is terrible. But, hey, I swear we don't have nothing personal against Minnesota Timberwolves. Because I might have said something about them almost every episode.
Oh, for sure.
It's basketball guys. And we just know, some things got to change to see some progress. But sure, we'll leave them alone. Now, shout out to the Knicks.
I didn't expect for you or myself or anybody to say that.
But we
gotta give them credit
right now.
You guys are doing your thing, Knicks.
Listen, they just finished in February with their first winning month since 2017, 9-5, and I believe they're in the playoff race. They have an all-star. Yeah, they're in the playoff race if I'm not mistaken. Ethan pulled that up to see if their standings, but they have an all-star and Julius Randle, one that is really, really deserving.
I always liked his game.
Yeah, and he's also in the skills challenge for the All-Star game. All-Star game skills challenge. You got Robert Covington from the Blazers, Luka from the Mavericks, Chris Paul, Julius Randle, Sabonis from the Pacers, and Vucevic from the Magic.
Okay.
Who you got winning that?
Ooh, that's tough. I don't even want to call that.
I think Luka gonna be BSing. I think he gonna get there and be laughing. I'm gonna go with a big guy.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Sabonis.
I mean, he's skilled though.
Yeah.
Listen, Sabonis got good genes.
Great. Yeah, and we got the sharp version of
Shout out to Arvidas.
Yes, we're gonna have to give him a little segment later, but I'm gonna go with Sabonis for my winner.
Okay, I'm with you with that. I mean, seriously, he's just got good genes and he's hungry.
He still got Chris Paul in him. He don't like to lose.
Yeah, but Chris Paul he got so many other things.
He got a whole lot going on. Yeah. But he is almost like an honorary host of it because of everything he's doing. So he might got to make sure he win that for the thing. But I'm going to go Sabonis for that. 3-point contest. You got Devin Booker, Jaylen Brown, Steph, Zach LaVine, Donovan Mitchell, and Jason Tatum. I'm going with D-Book. I
got Steph. Steph is trying to assert his dominance to let everybody know Clay is hurt. But we are down a little bit, but I still got this gun.
My Lake Show beat them by 30 the other night after we got Schroeder back. But I'm going to go with Book. But I got my dark horse right now for Zach LaVine. That's our dark horse sleeper.
That's your guy.
LaVine. Yeah.
That's your guy.
I've been saying it. I've been saying it for a couple of years. And me and my boys in our group chat, we've been saying it since the day he got drafted and was on the team with in Minnesota, of all places. Maybe I think that's where my disdain starts with Minnesota. Because they shipped him out and kept Wiggins and was portraying it as if Wiggins was better. And the media pushes for Wiggins. That's why I think also it took so long for LaVine to get the love. But when you that nice, regardless of how they do it, you're gonna have to give him the love on the stuff. But I got LaVine as a dark horse, but I got my money on Devin Book. I'm gonna have to call FanDuel.
D-Book.
D-Book for sure. Dunk contest. Only 3 participants?
Only 3?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Unless Ethan got some stuff messed up. But it's Anthony Simons from the Blazers, Cassius Stanley from the Pacers, and Obi Toppin from the Knicks.
Ooh, Obi. Let me say this.
You gonna Obi?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna say this because I'm a youngin' and I know Cassius Stanley.
All right,
Cassius Stanley do some things a little different.
I've seen some in-game dunks by Obi.
Yeah, but Cassius got some things with him though. So I'm gonna go that way. But shout out to the Knicks. This is gonna be an interesting All-Star game.
We need the Knicks to be good though. We need them to be relevant for sure.
Yeah.
You can't be the mecca of basketball, MSG, man, and not be good.
Yeah, they trash. But hey, we here now. Man, you were telling me a story. One of your guys said something crazy. Shout out to everybody that's been watching us on video and tapping in with us. This is dope for us. It is even more fun to be able to interact with some of you guys. But before we transition to some other space, how your OGs been looking at? How your people been looking at?
My guys are good except for one.
Yeah.
He ain't really an OG. He's one of my youngins.
Right.
I'm gonna give everybody his name. Michael T.J. Mazik. He's a guy that, he's run a radio station himself. He's done a podcast before, 7, 8 years before us, what have you. And he's always critiquing us. And I appreciate his constructive criticism because it helps us.
For sure.
Because we're young.
Yeah.
But recently, he got into a little, how can I say it, a little joking moment with me and Coach Ryan, where he said that, we need to maybe change the name of our podcast to Pushing It Back. And he's referring to our hairlines. But let me say this to everybody. For the person that's speaking to us, pointing the finger at us, there's 3 more pointing back at you. Because I know the truth. You went bald early, and you ain't want to admit it, that you needed to come on home, you know what I'm saying, and give it up.
Yeah.
But you're talking about us. Yeah, I'm back a little bit. I'm 47. Coach Ryan is back a little bit. But you know what? We're still growing. That's the thing. Our podcast is growing. Our hair is growing. You know what I'm saying? Can you say the same thing, TJ Mazik? Don't come at me like that. I got your back. I'm your old head.
Yeah.
But don't disrespect us like that, man. Come on, respect us.
No, that's real.
Come on, man.
Let's talk about it. And then on top of that, let's add in the fact we in Dubai. Where you get loud. Listen, I had to do a stint. You know what I'm saying? I served my time.
You served
in prep school, where I was at a military prep school. I had to shave, right? Yes. And I remember telling them, "Yo, I'm black. I can't shave every day. That ain't gonna happen."
right.
And I had to get the Andes.
Yeah.
The trimmers, right? And we don't have that out here. That's one of the first things I get when I go home, when I come back after the summer. I'm bringing some bevels back so I can get my beard and everything right. We don't have that. They got the walls for the UK hair. The barbers, sometimes I can get a good one or two. They don't leave.
Shout out to Ethan. Ethan's got a bird nest on top of his head right now as we speak.
Ethan look like a Bollywood star. Yo, but we don't have no. But one thing, even my barber said to me when I first got here and I was cutting, I think it was like October or something last year, and to now, he's like, look, you saved yourself by letting your hair grow.
Yeah.
And I'm 29, a fresh 29, and I know people that I was in high school with that was going bald. I know people that was 21, 22, and they won't growing. You know what I'm saying? We here right now. We here, so I'm going to take it. I'm going to let it go.
For sure. Those of you that know me, when we were in college, we were broke. You know what I'm saying? You got to cut your own hair sometimes if you ain't having money. So you have a messed up cut some weeks. Next week you all right. But I'm an adult. I ain't rich or anything like that, but I can get a haircut, but I ain't back at the crib. So I'm struggling right now. You know what I'm saying? So don't judge me by what you see now.
Yeah, man.
You can pass judgment on me when I come back to the crib and I've been home for a month.
Yeah.
I don't have any excuses then.
Yeah.
Right now, come on. Just love us, man.
And y'all got some nerve, right? I remember all them old school 90s hoopers, all them little things I seen with Childress and Van Axel and all those guys. Y'all was bald at 21, 22, 19. Jalen Rose, he got the waviest waves in the world right now. He was bald when he was in the Fab Five.
Shout out to Jerry.
There's a lot of them
I got
guys.
love for you. You know, I watch you all the time. But come on, man. You ain't just come home. You came home and went back out.
Listen.
Come on, man. How do you have such a crisp hairline right now as if you're 18, 19 again?
Man, he went back in time. He went back.
Tell me the secret, man.
Yeah.
You can just message me personally and be like, yo, it's the fact that I got bread. I'd be like, okay, I accept that. You know what I'm saying? But come on, man.
Oh,
you
look.
rub it in everybody's faces every day.
Crispy.
Come on, man.
And it's crazy too, because I remember seeing a pic of Clyde Drexler. He was with the Blazers. He was like 27.
Oh yeah.
And he looked like he was a pimp in that blaxploitation movie with Goldie and Jim Brown. And them. Like,
come on. Clyde was coming home back then, man.
He had the chops.
Yeah.
I was like 27. Look,
come on, man.
I'm here, man. So all of the little jokes is cute. You know what I'm saying? But I'm still growing. We still planting those seeds, man. But we let's get back to the action basketball talk. The reason why people are here. The game itself, right? We're going to talk about this because it starts at the top. We always talk about everything starts at the top. How our coaching and the organizational stuff, whether it's athletic director, GM, owner, or whatever, it all trickles down and it dictates the success of the team itself.
Right.
Because everything matters. And we talk about Lonzo and Melo, and let's go Lonzo specifically, about him getting into the league, drafted number 2 pick, whatever. So he is a 19-year-old kid coming into the NBA with grown men. This is a lifestyle, a profession. It's a completely way of doing things. Like, it's different from how we were playing basketball. And now it's your job. Now you got actual things to adhere to and get ready for, right? So it's an investment. You're getting paid millions of dollars.
Right.
You know, a company, the organization is investing that money into you as a player in hopes that you'll get somewhere, right? But is the game suffering with the way organizations are handling those young players?
In my opinion, yes. Because even though we know that they're actively drafting players at a younger age, they are not taking the necessary steps to protect those players, to nurture those players. And then after those players serve out their 3 years, and then it becomes a situation where the team, the organization has an option for your contract, we toss those players aside. And we say that those players were busts. But did we necessarily put everything in place for those players to be successful? You got to think, a player coming into college is 17, 18 years old. So they're coming into a situation where back in the day, where they would be in college for a minimum 3 years. Okay? 2 years if you're a phenomenal player. But we're talking about in today's society, 1 year, because you got to go where the money is. It's just a fact of life. I'm sorry, everybody. But knowing that these players are coming in after being a one and done in college, or even 2 years, you got to have certain things in place where these guys can grow in their certain cities, their certain organizations, and be successful. You can't hold them accountable for that because they're still kids. I'm sorry. You're typically a kid until you graduate from college, and you graduate from college at age 22. And then we all know at 22, you still make mistakes.
Yeah.
So we're talking about now you're 20, 21, and you got $1 million. So now that one mistake that you would typically make as a 22-year-old leaving college, you made 2, 3, 4 mistakes. Okay?
And they weigh more.
And they weigh a lot more.
Way more.
Right, because there's more at risk. So it's up to the organization to, if you're gonna draft a player, you gotta invest in a player long term. Yeah. And so make sure they have the right stuff in place where they can be successful. Now, will it always pan out? No. But I tell you what, for those organizations that have done this, we've seen that their draft picks have been more successful?
San Antonio,
OKC now,
OKC,
Golden State,
yeah,
Miami Heat.
Yeah. So
the usual suspects.
Yeah, starts up top.
Yep.
It's interesting. I don't want to talk about people in this manner, but just for optics, right? Just thinking about it, you put together a business plan, right? We're running this business here for Hoopmountain.ae, then starting a media company on the side, and we have to put in our money and our time into everything that we're doing, right? One, we want to make sure that in the end goal and the end result is successful.
Yep.
Right? So what we're doing ahead of time is we're scouting out everything. What are our needs? They call it that SWOT analysis. What are our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, everything else, right? What are we breaking down there? How do we get it? How much money? Where do we go to get the best resources? How can we make that stuff work here? And we put that in together. We're looking at everything, the business plan, and how to make it successful.
Right.
I look at my draft pick. I'm an organization that has not done well. And I'm looking at this individual, this young man, as somebody who can take our organization to another spot, right? I need to look at him and give him a business plan.
Correct.
Right? Like you said, the staff we're going to put around the team and everyone there is going to be a staff that's going to be geared towards the weaknesses this player has.
Right.
So I can nurture them, make them grow, right? We're talking about the fact that, yes, they are professionals, when this is why they talk about needing OGs on the team in the locker room so they can teach those guys how to be professionals.
Shout out to Udonis Haslam in Miami.
Yeah, you're getting paid for that. Even Jared Dudley, to an extent, now that's why he's still around. Great locker room guy.
Correct.
Right? So as an NBA team, and this is where it gets a disconnect between those ownership guys, and it happens in business everywhere, to where people just look at analytics, numbers, thinking about things up top. They don't see the everyday locker room stuff, and they're not thinking about how, man, you got a kid, you got to teach them how to be professional.
Correct.
Right? Yeah, you gave them $1 million, but because Paul George and Chris Paul have their own personal trainers, and they're already solidified superstars, they already know what diet gets them to where their best body weight is and everything else. You got a kid who don't know nothing.
Right.
They wake up the next day with millions, and you haven't put anything in structure for him before he can grow into that.
Right.
Right? So start investing more.
Right. And just start realizing that it's not all about analytics. It's about the personalization of everybody in your company, in your organization. And you have to, especially your draft picks, you have to go a little deeper into figuring out what makes this person tick, what's his strengths, what's his weaknesses, what his likes, dislikes, and you gotta get to know that person and build his trust, because you've invested a lot of money in this person, you know.
Yeah.
And you want him to be successful. I don't think any organization would draft a person and say, "We're gonna draft you 7th. You're in the lottery, and we expect you to fail." Well, if that's the case, then you're in the wrong line of work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the next stage too. We talk about how the game will evolve and everything else, and the players are doing it. We're gonna always see players evolve because that's where it's the most natural. That's
Right.
art in its own right. Like you can't control what a kid is doing on the playground by himself,
Right.
in the middle of Chicago, DC, or anything else. Like that's just gonna happen, right? But then that next phase is the people at top, the people that don't play, the people that aren't in the gym, right? Like the scouts need to be better, right? You need to have more of a resume or more of an understanding or description on what type of scouts need to be here to be dictating what goes next for this. Because a lot of people are evaluating talent, and they're doing it off that analytical stuff, right? You know, as to a certain extent, that can be good, but if you're not a player or if you haven't been around somebody who has, that IQ or understanding of the game at a different level, then you're going to be missing out on a lot of things that you just can't teach.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Some
Right.
things that just put you in a different space. Like, I think the scouts need to be a little bit held more accountable for those things.
Right.
GMs need to be firing themselves to an extent.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not even going to get into the fact that numerous coaches have been fired, whether they've won the Coach of the Year, that current year or the previous year.
Dwayne Casey.
General managers need to look themselves in the mirror.
Yeah.
And ownership needs to say, you know what? If a coach is unsuccessful, who hired that coach?
Yeah.
You know, if you're gonna hire a coach as a GM, make sure that coach has all the resources he or she can be. They need to be successful. But if they're unsuccessful, you gotta look yourself in the mirror and say, hey, did I give them everything they need?
Word.
You know, and we talk about this really quick. Boston Celtics. Brad Stevens should be under the hot lamp right now.
For sure.
Okay? And if he is, part of that blame goes to Danny Ainge.
Mm-hmm.
Who's their big? Who's their supporting personnel to go with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum and Kemba Walker? You know, who are those guys? You know, we know what's the kid from Oklahoma State? Marcus Smart. He's out. I think he's been injured a little bit.
Yeah.
But what about the rest of the roster?
Yeah.
You got 1 million draft picks that you got from other deals in the previous years. Why aren't we using them?
For sure. And then we talk about coaches that are being fired. Lloyd Pierce just lost his job as an Atlanta Hawks coach. And, you know, that one is an interesting occasion because we mentioned that in one of the early podcasts, maybe episode 5 or so, to where I was saying that I think Atlanta is a playoff team because they have so much talent, right? And you were saying, you know, the downfall of that is when you get that much talent there, usually the coach, because as a black coach, he was there when they were bad, wasn't much expectations. Now he has the talent. Whether anything goes wrong, because what's really happened to Atlanta is injuries.
Right.
Gallinari's been hurt. A lot of the key players have been hurt. But what happened is now they put their blame on him.
Right.
He loses his job.
Right.
And now Nate McMillan is the interim coach. And he was hesitant to take it because he was being so supportive of Lloyd Pierce.
And rightfully so. And Nate McMillan is a great coach, by the way.
Excellent.
But let me just say this. In terms of the Atlanta Hawks, Lloyd Pierce did a great job considering all the injuries they had. And they just got this talent this year. So it takes time for talent, especially young talent, to develop and mesh in consideration with the entire East getting better. Everybody in the East got better.
Yeah.
So it's going to take some time. So them firing him was a little premature, I think. And I'm not going to say this just because he is a black coach. I'm just going to say it's because he is the coach and it's a little premature. But him being a black coach does paint a different picture if it was premature.
It's a shorter leash.
Because you
think about it, my guy hit me. He said, yo, Lloyd Pierce is gone and Scott Brooks is still writing up X's and O's.
Scott Brooks, he coaches for the Washington Wizards. Coach Ryan has stated on several occasions that you want to go to end your career, go to the Wizards.
Yeah.
You want to go somewhere to possibly get a last bag, go to the Washington Wizards. You're a coach or a GM and you've kind of screwed up some other places, but you want to get a parachute into retirement, go to the Washington Wizards because you got a legit chance of getting it done.
Yeah.
And therefore, we have Scott Brooks.
Yeah. And what's crazy is that they've been on like a little win streak since. But you know Scott Brooks had nothing to do with that. And you think about his career, it's kind of just like the Budenholzer guy from Milwaukee. His time really should be up in Milwaukee. You know, you talk about the development of the Greek and, you know, his lacking as a skill and all that, and everybody puts so much of that on the Greek. He got to be taught that. It ain't like he just wake up and we all wake up with a book that says this is how you become better as a player. It just drops it to you. Like something that needs to be on the coach from his time in Atlanta. Like even the time when Scott Brooks was in OKC and the Thunder had the opportunity and when they lost 3-1, right? Was Billy Donovan the coach then?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
But even when in the finals, they give all of that credit and all of that backlash to the players. Scott Brooks doesn't get any of that. Scott Brooks is just, you know, he won this, he went there, it goes. Then you go down the road to the other side of the coast to Sacramento. Luke Walton is still there. Luke Walton there with no problems. Nobody said anything about it.
Ethan, somebody's still holding a grudge against Luke Walton.
As a Laker, as a Laker too, it was always perplexing to me Yeah. That Luke Walton's very first NBA coaching job was the Los Angeles Lakers. That's your very first job. You didn't coach anywhere. You were the head coach anywhere. And your very first coaching job was with the Los Angeles Lakers.
Derek Fisher's first job was with the Knicks.
The Knicks were terrible. The Knicks, how would they have one championship to their name or something like that? Maybe
I'm just saying.
Like your very first.
But it's the mecca of basketball.
Crazy. Some say Chicago, though. Some say Chicago.
No. The mecca of basketball is MSG.
Oh, that's it.
Like, don't get it twisted.
No,
Like, don't get it twisted.
But we'll say that to where it's like, it got to be, I think that's the next thing, because the game is suffering. And you talk about it too. I think you said player IQ?
Player IQ.
Yeah.
Player IQ.
You said players are dumber. That's what you said. Players are dumber. But like, I'll let you elaborate more than that because I don't want to mess up your words on those things. But another way that the game is suffering is players.
It's not that the players are dumber. It's just that less is required of them. And so when less is required of you...
What do you mean?
Less is required of you meaning that now it's all based on, for example, the style of play. Pace and space, shooting threes, and making as many threes as possible. Mm-hmm. We saw an example just a couple weeks ago of, was it the Denver Nuggets? Were in a late game situation with somebody, and they were down 2. They come down, and it's 4-on-0 for a quick second, and then it was 4-on-1, and they pull up for 3 instead of going to the rack. And they lost the game. It's a little bit of how can I say it? The style of play,
the copycat
league, and the Steph Curry effect.
Yeah,
everybody wants to shoot threes. Yeah. No, that is not the way the game is played all the time. Yeah, certain situations for that. 9 times out of 10, you're down 2.
I think they might even been down 1. If I'm not mistaken, all they needed was a layup.
I think maybe you're right. I'm not sure, but a layup would have definitely given them another chance to win the game.
Word, at least be in overtime.
And shooting a 3 is just, for me, it's the easy way out of it. You know, now I see why Greg Popovich doesn't like the 3. He's used it as a weapon because that's the way the game is played, but he doesn't like it because he's thinking that players too often settle for the 3 instead of doing the extra work instead of going to the basket. And the Denver Nuggets were a perfect example, and their coach even admitted it in the postgame that why didn't we go for 2?
Yeah.
But because everybody's being taught, space the floor. You get to the spot, you run to the 3-point line, you catch and fire away, instead of running the lanes all the way to the bucket and getting a 2.
Who do you put that onus on, though? Because you said it. You know, that's what they've been taught, right?
Well, you got to think about this. It's not necessarily all on the coaches because coaches have to do what's being sent down from the front office.
Well, you even think, like, that's not only happening in the NBA.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's not only happening there. Like, those habits, and even for those guys that do shoot threes, they're high scoring players because of what they do in between the lines in the paint. Talking about Dame, Kyrie, you talk about Harden, Book, all those guys, and I think even their foundational where they were taught at was like, look, you get here first.
But when you think about it, like when you talk about grassroots basketball, nobody's talking about what Kyrie did in terms of finishing in the lane or getting to the lane or things like that. They're talking about the shot that he hit in the championship run that they had for the Cavaliers. They're talking about that amazing step back 3 that Chris Paul may have made or Devin Booker may have made. They're not talking about that stuff, man. It's shooting 3s or dunks.
Yeah. I remember our coach in college one time saying that, like, everything had to be a 3 or a dunk. And I was like, I remember going to our assistant. I was like, that's not my game. I hit rhythm 3s.
Your game is rhythm 3s.
But I get to the
mid range.
Yeah, I get to my mid range, elbows and stuff. I remember I was actually the only player on my team that was actually shooting at my time. Like I would pull up, but he also was to the point where he didn't say nothing to me about it anymore because I would shoot after practice in between lunch times too. I would shoot. I would be in there for an hour and 30 with my assistant coach, shooting those same shots he seen me pull up. I remember I was on a fast break and I had somebody backpedaling and I had he pulled up the foul line and pulled the jumper, right? And people on it, like some of the guys on the bench was like, yo, coach. And at halftime, he's like, I see him shoot that shot 25, 30, 40, 50 times. Right. So if you don't like one thing, but I see you going and perfecting it, then you can go ahead and go here.
Right.
But my advantage was the fact that I had you and my uncle, my AAU coaches, to where they were telling me like, look, this is your game. You talk about this with Leonard Hamilton.
Yeah.
If you 6'9", but you play point, that's what you do.
That's what you do. That's what you do.
I just need you to do this for me,
yes.
right? So the game's suffering.
Yes.
The kids are being creative, as always. Parents and everything, coaches. Get in line and put them in places to be successful.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
That's how that goes. But we're going to go into something that we'll speak with this about in a more of a context for business and basketball and kind of keep it well-rounded. Because as you always talk about, we are more than just coaches, athletes. Like,
right.
We got some layers to us, right? You keep peeling the onion back. You be like, oh, that's them? Like, coach like to listen to Cafe de Mar on the beach, like,
Yeah,
so,
man, don't give away my secrets, man.
So we keep that in the tuck. Keep that in the tuck. But let's talk about the importance of sticking to a vision. We got some people listening here that, they may be on the fence about starting something.
Right.
They may be in the middle of something that they started and they hit a little fork in the road and they hesitant about keeping going. But let's talk about the importance of sticking to a vision. One, the importance of having a vision to begin with, and then sticking to it as you continue the course.
Yeah, of course, everybody has these visions that come across their minds certain points of time. But are you able to write those visions down and then expand on them and then see them through? And I'll say this, Coach Ryan is really good at taking his mental visions and putting them to paper and then bringing them to life. Myself, I'm a little more spontaneous. I go day to day. But Coach Ryan is really good at planning things out over a 6-month period of time, 12-month period of time and whatnot, and bringing them to life. And so if you have something that you're very passionate about, and you believe in, you have to put that down on paper because you always have to have something that you can go back to and draw on during tough times. Because there's going to be tough times when you're an entrepreneur. That's just how it goes. And so the thing is, you want to make sure that you're able to go through every process from A, B, C, D, E, and F, all the way through and have some type of track record of that. So that way, when things get tough, you can go back and correct mistakes, or you can use things as motivation to go forward. Okay, and you can learn from your mistakes because we're all going to make mistakes, Coach.
For sure.
We're all going to make mistakes. You and I have been going through certain things here in the UAE where we thought that we may have had the solution, and we found out a day or two later that we didn't. But what we were able to do is go back on your notes and then go back and make adjustments and then attack it from a different angle going forward.
Yeah, and I know you're the OG, so you've been in these situations several different times, like entrepreneurial stuff, like partnering with different people.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because what we say, like, because we're family, because we're friends, because you're families and friends with somebody, it does not mean that you need to get money with everybody.
Correct.
Right? So what are some of those lessons that you've gotten from those moments, from when you were early in your entrepreneurial days, back in the 20s, 30s, to where you're like, damn, wish I would have.
If you want to go into business and it's a family member or a friend, if they're not willing to put the same amount of effort, the same amount of whether it's finances or energy into the project that you're willing to put in, that's not your partner. I'm sorry.
Sacrifice.
Everybody's got to sacrifice the same amount of equity in the company. If not, you guys aren't partners. I'm sorry. I learned the hard way.
Yeah, and what Coach is talking about, same exact thing we're saying on the court, which is why we understand that dynamic, right? Because when we're playing, Coach pushing it up the court because that's his job, and I'm not running the wing fast enough, we can feel that. Because me not running the wing fast enough, it's not occupying that space for him to get that move off.
Correct.
Right? So if you're not putting in that time, that effort on the side for the business to go a little bit further, we're going to feel that. That's going to turn into anguish. That's going to turn into somebody having an issue and then business falling apart and not going well. So that's how that basketball stuff going on. When we talk about sticking to a vision, the one thing I've learned, shout out to my aunt Lisa, she does this, like, she's a mastermind. My uncle talk about it all the time. You know, if you got a question, go to her with those things, especially business wise. But from her and then what I've done, because what I also learned is you got to educate yourself. Because you may have the vision, right? And sometimes having that vision, you may have an idea about some things you have no clue about.
Right.
This right here. And this is just me thinking, man, how we just get on camera and make something happen?
Right.
Or there's some other things we got to cover later. I know cool about. I sit, I study, I look at those things and make the vision come clear. But what also helps, especially with our Hoopmountain thing, is we got a clear mission and a clear vision. Right? The mission and vision statements are really, really clear. And they're like guardrails. Right? So whenever we're making a decision about should we partner with this person, is this new contact really useful or not? Right. Or if we should go in this direction, or if we're talking to our business team and they're making some suggestions and all of us are kind of like, no, not really. We go look at the vision and mission. We say, does this help us get to where we want to go here? Right. And everybody says, nope, it's clear, that's not it. And we can wash our hands with it.
Right.
You know? That's the same way of like we're teaching a move to a kid and they're like, oh, why am I doing this? Right. And we can clearly say, this is exactly why. And then show them, and they're like, oh, all right. Now I'm going to go harder into that space. Right. Like, all those things are really important to have. It's a funny time, too, because I talk about educating ourselves. We both got to do it all the time. Like, it's a whole new space of being in. Like, we figuring out, you know, new contracts to put together and all these different things and different lingo.
Yeah, and different things being in the UAE period.
Yeah. So that's something that you want to make sure as a coach too, you have a vision for your team. Where are you going to take your team? Where are you going to put it? As a player, be able to visualize what it is you want to get out of the game. Right? That helps you when it's time to exit too. Because that's one thing I know people have trouble with, right, Coach? Letting that ball go when the air come out of it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. There's a lot of people who hang on too long instead of realizing that it's time for someone else to get a chance.
Yeah, for sure. Don't take up that space. So sticking to a vision, that's important. As you start to grow, you start to get somewhere. Establish a clear vision, and it's okay to tweak it. You know, it's okay to tweak it. Push it here, push it there, and keep it in line, and then make it happen that way. You got any last ones there? Because he ain't giving you the game, but the OG, he really been in some, you know, some opportunities that's been dope as far as, you know, entrepreneurial stuff, you know, first time things that happen. We'll get into story time later with some other stuff. But you got anything else for some of those young entrepreneurs?
No, at this point in time, just because that's probably a segment we need to devote to the entire podcast in terms of just talking about the entrepreneurship. Yeah. But right now, let's just keep it basic. Yeah. If the other person that's considered your partner doesn't have as much to lose as you do, they're not your partner for this particular project. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's real. And if you don't always have to donate money or have money to give, right? We'll talk about this more, but sweat equity. Yep. Sweat equity. I'm just out of college, out of grad school. All I got is ideas and energy, right? And so for me to be partners with, you know, gentlemen that are 20 years older than me,
established, maybe a millionaire, maybe not, like those people, for me to be there, for them to hold my words with some weight and like really take that. It's all off sweat equity because I don't have a dime to give, right? But you know how to create value for things. So, create a vision, stick to it. And as somebody who always told me, shout out to our partner in Kuwait, said everybody has an idea, but not everybody can get it done, or not everybody takes the necessary steps to get it done.
Shout out to Matham.
Yeah, big shout out to him. So we just wrap up sticking to a vision. That's something. Just give a little insight on what people think our business talk is like for us. Just a little bit of a taste, a little sprinkle. But now we got one of those things that we talk about. You look at a player and you just say it's just something different. It's just moving different. Sport, anything, having a chip on your shoulder, right? Like, what is that? What that looks like, how you see it as a coach. As a coach, when you look at a kid, because sometimes having that chip on the shoulder, that means a little bit more aggressive with things, or sometimes people try to hold that in, pull that in. We talk about Gary Payton. You told me something I didn't know. You told me that Gary Payton's first 2 years in the league, he was almost out.
Yeah, sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And I remember seeing a video of him talking about his shoes as a player, talking about the glove and his player exclusives with the Jordans. And he mentioned how he almost lost his deal with Nike because he was almost out the league until that year. But that's a guy talking about a chip on his shoulder.
Right.
And you talk about it as a new coach that came that kind of told him, like, look, you need to be who you are.
Right.
Don't let that chip go.
Right.
Then we get the joke. But as a coach, when you see that kid with a chip on his shoulder, like, what's the difference between that and somebody got an attitude problem?
The person with the chip on his shoulder is a person that just feels as though they're not being appreciated in terms of their skill, their craft. The person with the attitude is a person that you're genuinely trying to help, and they just won't accept or receive any help or any constructive criticism. And it's a big difference. It's hard to differentiate each time, but as a coach, that's your job to figure out which is it. Chip on their shoulder, playing a little more aggressively, or this person just has a nasty attitude. They don't want to listen to anybody. Mm-hmm. But as a coach, if you get to know the players, and I think I mentioned this before, and I probably mentioned it 5,000 more times, you get to know each player and you kind of know what makes them tick. And even if it's a player that has a nasty attitude, it's your job to find a way to reach that player. I'm sorry. That's just, you got to do the extra work. You got to find a way to make that player play up to their potential to help your team and to help themselves. That's your job as a coach.
And I've noticed, even as from a player perspective, that chip on the shoulder does give you a different bounce when you walk on the court sometimes.
Oh, for sure.
It's dog eat dog. It's a jungle in there. Like, when you got that chip on your shoulder, it's just something in you that just burning different.
For sure. It could be the difference in your career. You think about a player such as, and people may think I'm crazy, think about a player like Jimmy Butler.
For sure.
If Jimmy Butler didn't play with a chip on his shoulder, Jimmy Butler very well may not be in the NBA.
Word.
Because his overall impact on the game isn't something that just stands out all the time when you see it, like, say, a LeBron. But there's moments where Jimmy Butler can rise to the occasion of LeBron. We saw that. But that's not to negate everything else Jimmy Butler has done and brings to a team. Mm-hmm. And so a person like Pat Riley and their exposure, they see that and value that because Jimmy Butler has helped in the development of other players on that team.
Yeah, a culture. And you talk about that chip on the shoulder, that's him saying, I don't care if LeBron in front of me.
Correct.
I'm going to take that shot. I'm going to strap up. I'm going to do all those different things. And by all means, give me that guy that got the chip on the shoulder.
Right.
We just talked about business partner. You need somebody that got as much to lose as you do.
Right.
I need you to carry it like you care.
Right.
Right. I need you to act like if he scores, it's a problem. Yeah. Right. If that person misses that payment, it's a problem. If you guys don't send that email out on time, it's an issue. Like,
Right.
if you don't hold
Ethan,
up your hand,
if he doesn't push that button,
right,
it's
a
a
problem.
Ethan.
And if you don't do it because you do have that chip on your shoulder and you care, then you be like, man, I got to make up for that.
Correct.
On that other different side. So like, you know, that chip, I guess sometimes people call it finding it your why. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's one of those like buzzwords things that people talk about, finding it your why, but there got to be something else that's motivating you and pushing you to do whatever it is that you do. Because, man, it's not easy. People talk about getting up, working out 3 times a day and going to do all these different things. It's not easy to do any of that stuff. Like, it's not fun either. Like, there are your days when you love to do it, but I promise you every day LeBron wake up and work, it's not, he's like, all right, I just got to do it. It's because he's like, I'm tired today, but I'm chasing MJ and Magic and Kareem and Wilt and Kobe.
And not even just the people he's chasing, but his appreciation for what he has.
Respect. Yeah.
You got to respect your job. If you don't respect your job, you got to find a different job. And those guys in the league, most of them that get up and work out every day and take care of their bodies and whatnot, they respect the job they have because they know that myself, you, Ethan, Abdullah, or anybody else would love to trade places with those guys.
For sure. And then even on the everyday thing, it's kind of like have a chip on your shoulders too. Yeah. Even if you're not working in the NBA, if you're not playing a professional sport, if you're not playing sports, period, have a little edge to you.
Right.
That's part of the culture too that we're giving to our kids that come to Hoopmountain, to where we don't expect all of you guys to be collegiate basketball players or pro players, but we can help mold you personality-wise so you can fend off some of these worldly things that you have to deal with.
Right.
Get a little chip on your shoulder.
Right.
Be like, nah, I can't do this.
Right.
I'm going to go do this. I'm going to run through a wall to get it done.
Yeah. We talked about it today in practice.
Yeah.
Take pride in what you do.
Yeah.
There's no point in doing it if you're not going to take pride in it. And, you know, whether it's something as small as making a bounce pass, a chest pass, or showing up to work on time, showing up to work in the proper work attire. Yeah. Just having pride in what you do, because there's no point in doing it if you're not going to take pride in it.
Period. Right, that's it. Well, I think right there, that's a good note to push it off on. You guys sat with us through our 3rd video. You know, it's another feel-good episode. Right. Got to talk about some things. You know, this is my first episode as a 29-year-old.
After his 6th-day birthday extravaganza.
Yeah. I'm a leap year too, so that's why I celebrate the way I do. So imagine what I'm gonna do when my actual birthday comes around 3 years. it's gonna be crazy. But you know, it's post-game wrap-up time. Before we get to post-game wrap-up, I want to remind everybody in the UAE, Coach and I are easily accessible per COVID rules that the government has put in line, of course. You know, we can do what we can to talk with you, but you can find us Hoopmountain.ae, Hoopmountain.DXB on Instagram. Our WhatsApp and contact information are on both platforms. You can find us, call us. You'll see us around more and more as time develops. We'll be here. Come through with your children. We'll take good care of them. And soon we'll be taking care of you guys too, because we have some new things coming for all of you. We'll grow with us as we grow. But post-game wrap-up, that's when, you know, the locker room talk after the game, win or loss. You reflect on it, and you leave with your parting speeches. You got something for us today?
Especially for the Hoopmountain Hoop Stars, dream big. Find something that you want to do ultimately with your life, and think of the very top of that thing that you want to do, and shoot for it, and do your best every day to get to a space where you can achieve your goal. But just know that you're dreaming big and you're at the top of whatever you want to do. But if you fall short for some reason, which happens in life every day, you've given everything in your power to obtain your goal, you'll be able to sleep better at night. So just dream big and just go for it.
Encouragement. We always get those good words from the OG. For me, I always start like that.
That's you. That's Coach Ryan. Everything is about moi, and then coming to everybody else.
Clearly, it's not true, but we'll let you have that. Today, some of us have every reason to fail, and we're still making it work, right? And sometimes it seems like there's something in front of us at all times. It's been like, yo, keep pushing ahead. But I would like to remind us all that if it was easy, everybody would do it. If it was easy to get up and do these things, everybody would do it, right? So having that chip on your shoulder, having that vision, all of those things bottled up together to help you remember that what I want is not easy. It wasn't put here to be easy, right? Because I want something that's beyond what some people can even see. So stick to it. Head fast. Just worry about what's in front of you. Focus on your goal. Feel all of those feelings in between the start and the finish. Feel that fall on the ground. Feel that loss. Feel those little victories. Feel all those moments of insecurity, unsurety, because it makes that victory feel even much better, as Coach would say. So that's us, Bridgin the Gap podcast, the young OG, the OG. As always, keep it simple, keep it real, keep going.